Let's get right to the point. Grab the Docker Compose YAML file under this lecture resources. Please pause the video now and get it. Okay, I assume you have the file now. Please put it into the root of your project and then open it. So let's take a quick look at the syntax. This file uses the YAML syntax. If you are not familiar with it, here's a quick tutorial for the lazy developers. So YAML is a structured language with keys and values. Some keys can have child elements, which are indented one level. There are single values or arrays. With arrays, every element starts with a hyphen. In every Docker Compose file, you specify the version you're using. We are using 3.8. Under Services key, you define the containers. The keys here are the names of the containers. They are totally up to you. There are plenty of possible properties the container can have, and you can check them out all on this page. This is a full reference of the Docker Compose file syntax. Link is included under the lecture. But let's talk about the ones that we use. So starting with an image is the image name on Docker Hub or other registry. In our case, we pull images from the Docker Hub. Image property can also contain the image version. Command is the command override. Each container runs one single command when it starts. In case of the MySQL container, we want to enable password authentication, which is not default in most recent MySQL versions. Restart tells Docker to automatically restart the image when it fails for some reason or stops. The default here is to do nothing when container dies. The environment lets you pass the environment variables to the container. Some pre-built images accept specific variables, making it super easy to run the software. MySQL and Postgres are the example. You can specify the root password for MySQL or the Postgres user password for Postgres this way. Then the ports is the property to tell Docker which ports from the container should be exposed on the host machine. This is important as normally Docker containers are isolated. You won't be able to connect to MySQL or Postgres without exposing ports. Finally, we use Adminer Image, a browser-based database management tool. Now let's switch to the terminal app, and I would like to ask you to make sure about two things at this point. First, if you are in a folder where your Docker Compose file is, and the second, whether the Docker engine is running. So check in your Docker desktop app that the Docker is actually running, otherwise this would just fail. Okay, so now you can run Docker Compose app, and this would normally download the images because you won't have them in your system probably, so this can take some time. So you can pause the video and wait. So after the images are downloaded, they will be started. So now we wait for them to boot up. You can see the logs from different containers. There is the Adminer, there is Postgres and MySQL. Of course, you don't need both, you just need to decide. I will use MySQL in this course, but well, if you prefer Postgres, you are fine to use it. Finally, let's open the database manager, Adminer, at localhost 8080. We will create a new database for our project in both MySQL and Postgres. Obviously, just choose your preferred database, you don't need to do both. So MySQL first. The database host or server here in Adminer is MySQL, but that is specific for Mac. On Windows, this would just be localhost. Username is root. The password is example or whatever you've typed in Docker Compose. When you are signed in, just press the Create Database and type the database name. For example, nest-events. The recommended collation is UTF MB4 Unicode 520 CI. It contains the biggest set of possible Unicode characters. OK, and we are done. Now the instructions for Postgres. Be sure to change the system here first. The server is Postgres for Mac or localhost on Windows. Username is Postgres and password is example or whatever you have typed inside the Docker Compose file. Again, press the Create Database, type nest-events, press Save, and we are all done here, so we can log out. Finally, if you want to stop the running database, just press Ctrl+C in the console and it will all stop. Next time you like your database to be up, just type Docker Compose up again.